Every day I do one of these things.
That's huge
notes.
Folder.
It's a manila folder, color-coded with notes for everything. Do you know what my Dak section is? It's blank. Because I've been saying the same damn thing about Dak. I could repeat it for 3 months.
If the Cowboys are on course to use the franchise tag, then Dak has all his rights available to him. Not showing up, going year to year like Kirk Cousins did, and forcing his way to the market in a couple of years. And people don't get mad at Dak for doing it. The reason he's doing all this is because the Cowboys initiated the sequence by using the franchise tag. We can avoid all of it. Just don't use the tag, put him on the market, and we'll see what he gets.
I don't begrudge Dak for asking for the sun and the stars. I'm saying if I'm the Cowboys, there is a number that is a walk-away number. He is not as good as the numbers would dictate.
Well, who do you replace him with?
Hey, thanks for watching Numbskull News, and today we're talking about replacements for Dak Prescott if things keep going sideways as they appear to be. I'm not a big fan of franchising Dak Prescott in hopes that he signs a good deal somewhere in the summer. I think that's foolish. So going on the premise that if that is foolish, then you should tag him and trade him. But if you do, you have to be able to replace him with somebody that can keep you in contention. And what I mean by contention, I mean get to an NFC Championship game, possibly a Super Bowl appearance. I mean, with all the talent that Dallas has right now, that should be the expectation. Right now, I believe there's only 5 quarterbacks that personally I would get excited about that would do just that, keep you in contention, and would cost you a hell of a lot less money. So, starting with number 5, Jacoby Brissett. No one's talking about Jacoby Brissett, but the dude is a really good quarterback. He can win games. Right now, he's kind of a poor man's Dak Prescott, but I believe surrounding him with the talent you have in Dallas and with Mike McCarthy as his head coach, I think you can get the best out of Brissett. Tell you the truth, I think he can do exactly the same thing Dak Prescott can do at a substantially lower amount of money, which means you can invest heavily in your defense. That's going to be a requirement if you have a Jacoby Brissett, just like it's a requirement if you have Dak Prescott. Number 4 is the old dog Tom Brady. He only falls to number 4 because of his age. But then again, if he was younger, he'd still be with the Patriots. And the downside is you would have to pay him at least $30 million a year to get him in the door. And there's already talks of the Oakland Raiders going to offer him up $30 million. I wouldn't really exceed that. And I think for the next 2 years, Brady could get you to contention for a Super Bowl. But it'd only be for 2 years. But Brady can help you do a lot of winning, and winning in the postseason where it counts. Number 3 is Phillip Rivers. And again, there's an age problem here, but not as severe as with Tom Brady. And Rivers' numbers did decline last year, but I'm not really worried about that. The Chargers had a horrible offensive line, and their big-time running back, he sat out for a lot of the year. So there wasn't that release valve. There wasn't that protection for Phillip Rivers, like he would enjoy here in Dallas. With Mike McCarthy, I think the sky's the limit for him for a couple of years. And I don't believe you would have to pay him $30 million. I think you can get away with 25. That's why he goes a little bit above Tom Brady for me. The next 2 are tricky because you really need to be able to trade Dak Prescott because you're going to have to trade for these next 2 quarterbacks. But if you could somehow pull that crap off, they are literally the 2 best options. So at number 2, I have Cam Newton, former MVP, and was putting up great numbers when he got hurt. I know the injury is a concern, but if you can get him in, he makes significantly less money than Dak Prescott, or at least Dak Prescott will. And I do believe he is a substantial upgrade from Dak Prescott. He's already proven that. He's won a league MVP. I think he can still play at that level. He's young enough. He's in his lower 30s. You got to protect him, sometimes protect him from himself, but Zeke Elliott is the perfect back to help protect a Cam Newton. And what you're hearing around the league from the Panthers is that, they're not really interested in trading him, but behind the scenes, they are interested in trading him. As a matter of fact, they're interested in trading up to draft another quarterback. So from all the accounts, Cam Newton is gettable. So this is a very realistic option for the Dallas Cowboys. And number one, the one that gets me the most excited, is Matt Stafford. Now, all the reports out there say they want to take Tua at number 3. However, Tua is coming off of a significant injury, may not be ready to go at the beginning part of the next year. However, you have to ask the question, would they be willing to trade Matthew Stafford for a first-round pick? Would you need more? I don't really think you would need more, considering he's 32 years old. Now, there's a lot of people that say, look, you need to stay away from him. That's a bad option. He's 5 years older than Dak, and he's, now he's got an injury history. Well, really, he doesn't have an injury history. This is the first significant injury he's had in his whole career. So really, it's more of a freak thing that happened, that's all. But before that happened, he was putting in a stellar year. And I believe the next 5 years of Matthew Stafford are going to look a hell of a lot better than the 5 years Dak Prescott, regardless of where he plays. And not to mention Matthew Stafford, I think he's on the books for somewhere around $23, $24 million a year, which is way the hell less than Dallas already offered Dak Prescott. And he's on the books for that for the next 3 years. So you already got him locked in at a good price for 3 years. And this makes him by far the number one option. That gives you a 5-year window to try to win a Super Bowl. And that's what it's all about, gang. Winning a Super Bowl. And I would love to win one with Dak. I'd love to attempt to win one with Dak. But if he's making $38, $40 million a year, that significantly hampers the Cowboys' chances of winning in a 5-year window. If he was Patrick Mahomes making Patrick Mahomes money, I got no issue. I will pay the freight on that. If he was good as Russell Wilson, I wouldn't have any reservations. If he was Aaron Rodgers, I wouldn't have any reservations on it. But because he's Dak Prescott, I got a lot of reservations. I like the player. I mean, there's some fans out there that really they're tired of him. They think he sucks. I don't think he sucks. I think he's really good, and I think he needs help. I think he's a borderline top 10 quarterback. He's not a $40 million guy. Because those guys, you got to have them carry the franchise for you. Aaron Rodgers can carry a franchise for you. Russell Wilson can carry it. I believe Patrick Mahomes will be able to do that. But Lamar Jackson may be able to do that eventually. But Dak, it's been 4 years. And people say, well, the first 4 years of Tom Brady, the first 4 years of whomever, you saw flashes of greatness from those players. Everyone says, Tom Brady, you can't give him all that credit for Super Bowl wins, especially the first 3. I remember the first one against the greatest show on turf. I remember a 2-minute fourth quarter drive at the end of the game to kick a field goal to win the damn game. And that was Tom Brady throwing the ball. Deadly accurate. Can Dak Prescott do the same thing in a big game? I believe he can. I've seen some of that in Dak. You just don't see it consistently. That's the issue. Game after game, even the hard games. I mean, when you go to New Orleans and they only score 13 points, can you score us 14? Bad weather and all, going to New England. And New England, I can't remember how many points New England scored. 10? 12? I mean, it was ridiculous, right? New England couldn't do a damn thing, but they could score just a couple more points than Dak could that day. It's ridiculous. You need a quarterback on those hard games. Maybe a game you have no business winning. But when your defense does show up, when there is inclement weather that's going to help your defense out, you got to be able to put up some points. I'm not talking 30 or 40 points. We're talking 14, 16, 17 points. That's a reasonable ask. In Dak's career year, he could not deliver. He couldn't deliver when you needed him. And that's why you can't pay him $40 million. I would love it if he was that guy. We wouldn't be having this argument. He'd already have his paycheck and it'd be over with. But really, I think these 5 guys are legit options for the Dallas Cowboys. And you can get off a hell of a lot cheaper than Dak. And you can go and try to win now with these guys. It'll be real interesting to see what happens. I don't know if it's going to be as simple as Dallas just franchising Dak Prescott and hoping and wishing he shows up to training camp. And here we are in late July and there's still not a deal done and they're still trying to work last minute to get something done. I truly hope that's not what happens. It could be. But I don't know. Something just feels a little different here. Like maybe Dallas has something up their sleeve. Maybe they're talking to Phillip Rivers behind the scenes. Or they're having discussions with, the Detroit Lions, please, and say, hey, first rounder? What would it take to get Matthew Stafford? What would it take to get Cam Newton? Maybe they're having those conversations behind closed doors. I hope they are. And it kind of feels that way as well. Just a touch. Just a touch, it feels that way. So I have some hope here. That we don't have to unask $38.5 million for Dak and hope he becomes worth it. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. I'll be back with some other crap later. Bye.